What's up, everybody? Welcome back to Unparalleled Universe for another action figure review / showcase. And today we're taking a look at the brand new Universal Monsters, The Invisible Man by Jada Toys. And I want to give a huge thank you to the folks over at Jada Toys for sending this out to me to take a look at. I'm very excited about this whole line, and I've been really excited about the Invisible Man and Wolfman ever since I got a chance to play with those figures at Comic-Con this last year. Jada Toys let me mess around with them there at the booth, and I was really excited because of how fun they were to play with. So now that I actually have the finished products in hand, I'm pretty hyped up. So let's go ahead and get right into it, starting off with the packaging. Up here it does say Universal Monsters, down here it does say Invisible Man, and then obviously you are able to see the figure through the window along with the awesome accessories. I think that's what's going to make this figure amazing. The accessories, they look incredible. On the side of the box, we get some artwork of the other Universal Monsters. On the back, we get a look at the Wolfman and the Invisible Man. Down here, we got a bunch of bullshit. On this side, not a whole lot going on. And that's about it for the packaging. It is collector friendly and all that good stuff. But enough about this pretty looking box. Let's go ahead and get Mr. Griffin out and take a look. All right, so here we have the Invisible Man right out of the box. And I've got to tell you guys, the Invisible Man is definitely my favorite Universal monster. I think his story is a very cool mix of monster and horror elements thrown in with some science fiction, and it just makes for a really good, unique story, especially in the Universal Monsters category, because he is a monster, but he did it to himself. So it's really hard to sympathize with him. You kind of feel bad for him, but at the same time, it's like, well, it's your own fault, you know? He was really a victim of his own ambition. And yeah, the Invisible Man has a very cool story. If you've never seen the old classic Invisible Man movie with Claude Rains, I suggest checking it out, or maybe even check out the book by H.G. Wells. But yeah, he's such a cool character. And for as long as I've collected 6-inch action figures, I've wanted a 6-inch articulated Invisible Man, but I just never thought we'd see it because of the design and stuff. And, you know, I don't know if the Invisible Man has a lot of fans out there these days or whatever. I know there's some people that love him, but I don't know if he's the most popular Universal monster. He doesn't seem as, he doesn't have the staying power of Frankenstein, I feel like. Everybody loves Frankenstein, and we always see Frankenstein, but I don't feel like we've seen the Invisible Man as much as Frankenstein, the Mummy, and Wolfman. I love all those characters too, but I've just always been kind of attached to Invisible Man. And it's a shame that he doesn't get the love that those guys do. But anyways, I never thought we'd see a 6-inch articulated figure. And here we have it. Finally, we have one, and it came out amazing. I think that Jada Toys really did a great job on this guy. There's a whole bunch of cool stuff going on. The way they did the torso is interesting. So it feels like there's a solid piece of plastic in the center, but then it's covered by a rubbery type of overlay. And that's kind of an interesting way to do it. And even though it is like a rubber overlay, there's still some really good detail in there. It doesn't lose any detail, you know. It looks very nice, very well sculpted. And then down here, the bottom part of the robe, it is like soft rubber as well, so it doesn't get in the way whatsoever. You can mess around with this figure a lot, and, you know, his legs aren't hindered by the lower part of his robe. So I think that soft rubbery stuff really helps the figure's fun factor, you know, because he is a lot of fun to mess around with. And you wouldn't think that would be a case for a character that has this type of design, you know? And taking a close look at the details on the Invisible Man, starting off with the head, I really think they did a great job with this head sculpt. I love the way that you could see some facial features underneath the wraps. You could see the shape of the nose and the chin and stuff. And it looks like an actual guy underneath the wraps. So that is awesome. And they did a great job painting the wraps. You could see that we have a bunch of brown wash in there that brings out some of the details, and the wash goes throughout the entire head sculpt. And look at the texture on the wraps themselves. That's pretty crazy. They did a great job with that. But yeah, man, this is a great looking head sculpt. I love the glasses too. I like how the lenses kind of have a reflective look. You could see the light shining off there, and then we have the gold frames and stuff. And yeah, these look nice. But this is a really dope head sculpt. I like that quite a bit. And then moving down into the body, this all looks really good too. The paint is pretty nice on here, but you could see that some of it missed the mark just a little bit. You could see the red of the collar, and it should be yellow right there. And then same thing down here. So it's slightly off, but you can't even really see it until you get in close. So, you know, it is what it is. It would have been nice if it was perfect, but that's not the case. Thankfully, it's not ugly or sloppy or anything. And, you know, this the torso is made out of like a rubbery type of material. And I think that's cool and everything because they were able to get a good amount of detail in there. And you could see that there's kind of like different shades of red, or, you know, a red with like a bit of a wash and stuff to make it look different. But I'm a little concerned about this material and how well it'll hold up and how long the painted pieces will stay painted if I continue to play with the figure. It doesn't feel like it's going to peel off or anything, but I'd imagine, you know, if you have this figure like in an area that's hot, that the paint might come off from this. I don't know. There's no evidence of that now, so we'll have to see. I guess time will tell how that'll work out. But I do think it looks good, and this is painted very well. Look how clean all those squares are. And like I said, the red has some nice variations of color in there. It's not just like a solid red, so that's dope. And then right here we have the pocket with the little handkerchief in there. Yeah, it looks good. And then coming down to the lower half of the figure. Man, look at that. All these squares are really clean, which is crazy because there's a whole bunch of them. But it all looks really good. He does not have pinless elbows or anything, but, you know, he's got enough really great stuff going on to where, like, you could forgive that in a case like this. And then moving down to his awesome pants. I got to get me some pants like this, man. These are dope. Yeah. Then the shoes. But yeah, man, this figure looks amazing. I'm really happy with the sculpting work and stuff, and the paint and the details. It just looks really, really good. And I'm glad they went with this look for the Invisible Man. It's not like the coolest look or anything, but I just like it. There's all kinds of different colors, and it's just crazy. So I love the way this figure looks, and I think they did a great job with the sculpting and the paint. And then for accessories, the Invisible Man comes with a bunch of awesome stuff, starting off with the hat. And I think this hat looks really good on the figure. Once you put it on there, you don't really have to worry about it falling off. It stays on there very securely, but when you want to take it off, it comes right off. So yeah, they did that very well, and the hat looks really good. It's an iconic look for the character, so I like it quite a bit. And then for the hands, it's kind of weird what we have going on here, but as far as like the normal hands go, he does come with a fist for the right side and then an open hand for the left side, and then he also comes with a gripping hand for the right side that could be used to hold on to the beaker that he comes with. And then he did come with this book, and I think this is his book of like experiments or his journal or whatever it is. But it does look really cool. It would have been nice if he had a way to hold this. Unfortunately, he doesn't. He doesn't have like a gripping hand that's capable of holding this. But, you know, it's something you could use like in the background of a shot or something. So that is nice. And it looks good. You know, it's well sculpted and stuff. I do wish that it was able to open up. That would be cool too. But yeah, I mean, I like that he has a book. I just wish we got a little bit more out of it. Oh, and then we have this right here, and this thing is awesome. As you can see, we have this little effect that kind of makes it look like the Invisible Man is taking the wraps off of his head, and this is so cool. And I've seen an effect like this on previous Invisible Man figures. I think it was like Sideshow or somebody that did an Invisible Man figure that had a very similar effect to this. But I just love the fact that Jada Toys threw it in with this version, because this is such a cool and unique looking effect. This is awesome. And then lastly, we have one of the coolest accessories I've ever seen, and I think this is freaking dope. I love this so much. As you can see, we do have a hand that plugs into the left arm, and that hand is holding onto a glove. And if you set it up like this, you can make it look like the Invisible Man is removing the glove from his invisible hand. Look at that. Oh man, I love this so much. This is so cool. This is probably how I'm going to display them, but look at that. That is such a creative and unique accessory. Man, I love that so much. I like when I showed this to my daughter, she kind of tripped out. She's like, wait a minute, put her finger in between there. But yeah, this is such a cool accessory. I really, really like this. And then for some size comparisons, here we have the Invisible Man alongside the Jada Toys Frankenstein and the Jada Toys Creature from the Black Lagoon. And the Creature is really the character that sold me on these Jada Toys figures, because I think they really did a great job on him. He looks amazing and has some really good articulation. So once I saw what a good job they did on that figure, made me want to get Frankenstein, and then it got me interested in the other stuff that they have coming out. So yeah, Creature was a nice figure, and I like the way the Invisible Man looks next to these characters, because he's smaller. He's just like a normal sized guy, so I think that's very cool, and it works very well with the other monsters. And then traveling back in time a bit, here we have the Invisible Man alongside the Toy Biz Marvel Legends Living Zombie and the Toy Biz Marvel Legends Werewolf by Night. And I would love to see some new figures of these two characters. One of these companies that are doing things now could definitely do a great job with these two characters. I'm sure that Hasbro will get around to doing a Werewolf by Night, especially because, the recently released Werewolf by Night Halloween special on Disney Plus it seems like it's doing pretty good. I think it's an awesome TV special, and if the reception is anything to go by, it kind of makes sense that Hasbro would eventually give us a Werewolf by Night. So we'll see. Hopefully that's the case. And then next up, we have him alongside the Mezco 112 Collective Orlok and the Mezco 112 Collective Michael Myers. And man, back in the day when Mezco first started to do the 112 Collective stuff, they had the license to Universal Monsters, and they gave us a Frankenstein, and that figure was okay, but I really wish they would have given us an Invisible Man because his design works so well with the Mezco aesthetic, but they never got around to it. Oh man, it would have been awesome. And then here we have the Invisible Man alongside the NECA Halloween 3 Season of the Witch Jack-o'-lantern Trick-or-Treater. On the opposite side, we have the NECA Sam from Trick or Treat. This is one of my favorite NECA horror figures. This thing is amazing. And then, of course, here we have the Invisible Man alongside the Marvel Legends Bucky Cap and Marvel Legends Pizza Spider-Man. And as you can see, he does look really good next to, like, modern Marvel Legends figures. And then next up, we have the Invisible Man alongside the NECA Mummy and the NECA Frankenstein. And I think that NECA is absolutely killing it when it comes to the Universal Monster stuff. But I will say, I think that Jada Toys, they have their own space because they're smaller, they're more in scale with like your 6-inch stuff, and they have more articulation. So, I really feel like there's room for both of these brands in my collection because I like the Universal Monsters. I can justify buying a really good looking 7-inch scale version of these characters, and then I could also justify picking up a 6-inch scale that's more fun to play with and looks good next to the rest of my 6-inch collection. And then when it comes to the articulation, this guy has a lot of really good stuff going on, and he has way more articulation than you would expect out of an Invisible Man figure. And I think for that reason, he's going to set himself apart from, something like NECA. Like the NECA Invisible Man that's coming out pretty soon looks amazing, but it doesn't look like it's going to have the articulation that this guy has. So I'm really happy to have a Invisible Man figure that's fully posable and just doesn't look good standing there. You could actually pick this figure up and, play around with it. And that is awesome. But let's go see what we have going on starting off at the head. So he does have movement at the lower neck and at the upper neck. So using both of those, we get some really nice tilt for those expressive, crazy poses. He could look up to about right there, which is okay. And then he could look down to about right there. And then obviously he could look left to right. So really good stuff at the head and the neck. And then for the torso is just like one big piece. But they put a ball joint at the waist, and the ball joint gets some really good movement. Look how much forward it goes. That's just from the ball joint. I mean, that's pretty damn good. It's not a whole lot, but I think that, that's enough for the Invisible Man for sure. And then you could get it to go to the side, which is awesome. It could go back, and you could see that down here there's a pretty big hole, and that's what's allowing all that movement. So when you go back, you want to be careful not to go too far, because then you'll show that hole. But yeah, man, look at all the articulation on there. And then it could spin side to side or swivel side to side. But I really love the fact that it tilts side to side like that, and it crunches forward a really good amount. So that is awesome stuff. And then for the arms, they are able to go all the way around, and then they could come up to the side to about right there, which is nice. And then he does have upper bicep swivel, but the shape of the bicep is a little weird, so the movement's a little weird, but, we get some movement out of it. And then he does have double jointed elbows that get a really crazy bend. Look at that. Damn. And then he has a swivel at the wrist and a hinge. And then for the legs, what do we have going on? They come out to the side to about right there, which is pretty nice. They could come forward to about right there. And as you could see, the flaps just kind of move along with it. So you could actually get him into like a sitting pose. And like the robe will just kind of, shift around with it. So that is dope. You can get him into running poses and all that. And yeah, look at that. The robe, the soft plastic just kind of gets out of the way. So that is awesome. And then he does have upper thigh swivel. He has double jointed knees. There we go. Double jointed knees. They get a crazy bend. Then at the foot, we do have like a ball joint, so his foot could go side to side. You could bring it forward to right there and bring it up to right there. So yeah, like I said, this guy has way more articulation than you than you really need for the Invisible Man. Like, I don't know why you'd want to get him into this type of pose, but I don't know. It's so fun that it's possible, you know? I think that's what's really cool. Like, he's not a character that needs a bunch of articulation, but I love that Jada Toys really did what they could to give him the most articulation possible. Yeah, you could really get him you could get him to do stuff that you'd probably never actually see the Invisible Man do, like in the movie or whatever. So that's so dope, man. They really did a great job with the articulation, especially considering it's a character that didn't really need that much articulation. They still went all out with it and made it so the figure is a lot of fun to play around with and just pose and do crazy stuff with. So I'm really happy with the articulation on this guy. Alrighty, so overall, at the end of the day, when the smoke clears, the dust settles, and it's all said and done, as a huge Invisible Man fan, I am extremely happy with the way this figure turned out. I think that Jada Toys did a good job on pretty much every aspect of this figure. He's got some really great articulation, especially for a character like Invisible Man that doesn't really need it. I think it's very cool that Jada Toys really went all out and gave him as much articulation as possible. And it's fun to play with, you know. He's a really great figure to pose around, and it's, you know, I never thought I'd get that out of an Invisible Man figure. So I'm really happy that Jada Toys actually put some love and focus into the articulation. And even though I love the articulation on this guy, I do feel like they could have done a better job with the upper bicep. The way that it's shaped really makes it hard to move around. You could get what you need to out of it, but I feel like that's one point of articulation that I think could have been handled a little better. Aside from that, I'm really happy with the rest of what this guy's capable of as far as posability goes. And then I absolutely love the accessories, especially this. This thing is so creative and cool and unique, and whoever thought of this, man, salute to you, because that is super dope. I love that. I also love the, you know, the one where he's unwrapping the mask. I think that's very cool. The hat, the book, the beaker, all that stuff is awesome and works very well for Invisible Man. And then when it comes to the look, I think they really did a great job sculpting this guy. The paintwork is really nice too, but as we saw, some of the paint on mine was a little bit off. Not a huge deal or anything, and I really don't think you'll even be able to notice it in pictures, but it's slightly off, so when you're, you know, when you look close at it, you could see those things, and I really wish it wasn't the case, but you know, it's kind of hard to get things perfect. It would have been nice if all that paint was applied perfectly. Unfortunately, that's not the case. But aside from that, the paintwork is really nice. I love the wash on the mask. I think that looks really good. And even on the robe and everything, for the most part, the paint is good, except for some parts where it just kind of missed. But, you know, I think overall the figure looks amazing. And I really love that they were able to put some detail into the robe. Because this material, you know, it's soft and it's a little, you know, it's like rubbery. So you wouldn't think they'd be able to put so much detail into it, but they were able to, and the figure looks really good as a result. So yeah, man, I am so happy with this figure. And, you know, when it comes to the Invisible Man, this is a character that I feel like a lot of people like aren't really big fans of the Invisible Man. I kind of felt like alone in that. I know I'm not the only person out there who loves Invisible Man, but you know, all this time that I've wanted a 6-inch Invisible Man figure, I felt like it was probably never going to happen because he just doesn't have enough like fans, you know, he doesn't have a big fan base. He's not Frankenstein or Wolfman or, you know, one of the bigger monsters. So I just never thought it was possible. But then Jada Toys came through and gave us an awesome version of it that has everything that I like in an action figure. Great accessories, a bunch of great articulation, and it looks amazing. So yeah, this is something that like I never thought I'd see. It really feels like a dream come true type of figure for me. So yeah, man, they really did a great job. And I'm very happy with this. So huge thank you to the folks over at Jada Toys for sending this out to me to review, because I've been very excited about this figure ever since they let me play with it at Comic-Con. And I'm really happy to see that he came out just as good as I was expecting, you know. Because sometimes you see things early and, things could change by the time that the figures actually get released. But yeah, this guy came out just as good as I thought he would after I played with the prototype or whatever it was, factory sample at Comic-Con. So yeah, I'm very happy this guy actually came out that good. So they did a great job. So thank you once again. I really do appreciate it. And I really hope that Jada Toys takes a stab at like more looks for the Invisible Man. And I really hope that they continue to give us Universal Monsters figures. Because, it's got to be tough. You've got the NECA out there as competition. And the NECA stuff is really amazing. But I do feel like Jada Toys kind of has their own little, their own little thing going on over here that's unique compared to NECA, because they're smaller, they fit in very well with other 6-inch figures, and they're more articulated. So, in my opinion, there's room for both of those types of figures in my collection. The big stuff that looks amazing, and then smaller stuff that's fun to play with. This guy kind of feels like a Marvel Legends figure, a really dope Marvel Legends figure, but it's the Invisible Man. So that's crazy right there. That's very unique, and I really hope that they continue on with it. But yeah, with that, I think that's it. Thank you so much for watching. Please be sure to like, comment, subscribe, and all that good stuff. Also, be sure to hit the bell notification so you know every time that I go live. If you're not aware, I do go live every Tuesday at 7 p.m. and every Friday at 7 p.m. So come through. Let's talk about toys and get weird. Thank you very much. Peace.